Hello guys, welcome to The Ordinary Filmmaker. This is my first live stream and I can't believe how many comments I'm getting so far. No, a dating site being single. Yeah, I'm not going to post that comment. Welcome guys. This is a little different for me because I'm used to talking directly into this camera, but I've got my Mac right down here which is controlling everything. I'm using Ecamm Live. So let's see, how is everybody today? Oh, Peter Gregg is with us. Look at this, I've got about 5 or 6 comments already. So let's get right to things here. This is kind of funny. I've been watching Peter Gregg live for an awfully long time, and Peter's been a mentor to me. And I don't know how you do this, Peter, when you constantly have all these comments popping up, how it's distracting, and you've got so many things to look at. You've got the computer here, you've got the camera here, and as you can tell here by me pressing this, I've got a second camera. And I'm actually using the 70D for this view here. So guys, a bit of a background here. I just got this product. I didn't pay for it. I was asked to do a review on it. It's the FieldWorld Live Pro. And they sent it to me and I thought, are you kidding? Do I want to try live streaming? Do I want to be able to try to emulate Peter Gregg? Oh, did I have the mic? Okay, Peter, that's a good comment, good suggestion. And I thought, yes, definitely. So, that's what I'm doing here today. And right now, the way I've got it set up, guys, it's very simple. I just have it for a simple, we can press this button here. You can see that I've just got it on a basic fade, and that's pretty much how I do everything else. And it's very simple like that. So let's see, welcome everybody. So buffering, yeah, let me know what the performance is like. I am using Wi-Fi, but I do have a 5G connection and a 1 gig connection. I'm broadcasting at 1920 by 1080, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. So if it's not very good, let me know. All right, let's see some of the other comments we got here. You know what, guys? I actually did a live stream, I think it was about 6 months ago when I first started doing my channel. And I had maybe like at most 10 people in the room, and the comments would come in every couple of minutes or so. So seeing the amount of comments here is crazy. So let's take a look at some of the comments. Corey W says, finally get to watch a live episode. Yeah, there's not going to be any love here. I mean, you know, yeah, just live, right? And Peter Gregg, what have you got here? I can't even read this until I put it on the screen. Mute your mic during the pre-show. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I only did the pre-show for, I think it was about a minute or so, because my wife and my son have gone out for a walk while I do this. I'm not nervous, guys, but I'm actually quite unprepared for this. I'm not used to this many comments coming through, so I'll get the hang of it shortly. All right, and another comment from Larry. Hello, brother. Yeah, Larry, welcome to the channel. It's good to see you. And guys, if you really want to know how a live show is done, you got to watch Peter Gregg live tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern time. He's got better equipment and he's so polished. I think Peter was once a TV announcer or a radio broadcaster, and it certainly shows. Let's see. Yep, definitely a live episode. Hey, Brian, how are you today? How are things? I'm actually loving this. This is incredible. Yeah, it is pretty awesome. And you know what? I'm kind of acting the same way I got when I got my R5, as a little giddy like a schoolboy. And I kind of had a script and some points I want to follow, but I don't think I'm doing that very well. But no worries. We'll get into this shortly. You look great and sound fabulous. Well, you know what? That deserves some applause. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, Larry. What's up? Well, you know what? You guys can actually help me out here, because I guess this is month 11 now for my channel. I'm approaching 14,000 subscribers, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for standing on the shoulders of people like Peter Gregg, Think Media, and some other viewers. A lot of you have helped me out. Bogdan designed the intro that we saw at the beginning. And I've had a lot of support from other viewers and subscribers, so I really do appreciate all the support I've gotten. And what I'm going to start doing is a whole lot more reviews. So what I'm really curious from you guys is to let me know, how is this? Are we getting any dropped frames? Is the audio cutting out at times? For audio, I'm just using a basic headset that I use when I teach ESL. That's going into the back of the computer, so nothing really fabulous there. For the switcher, again, I'm using the FeelWorld Live Pro L1. It's around $300. It's definitely cheaper than the ATM Mini, but I haven't tested that one out yet, so I'm curious to see how this one goes. But I want to get back to the comments. I find this much more enjoyable. All right, so yeah, Larry says Peter Gregg rocks, and he certainly does. And speaking of rocks, here's Peter Gregg. Just have fun. And yeah, I think that's a big part of this. I'm trying to have a lot of fun here. And this channel for me, when I first started doing this about 11 months ago, I thought, how hard can this be? I watched Peter Gregg, I watched Camera Conspiracies, I watched Think Media, I watched Tony Northrup, and a whole bunch of channels, and I just kind of thought, yeah, it can't be that hard, could it? Well, I wouldn't say it's hard. I'd say it's a lot of work. And but the biggest thing that I'm trying to do is teach myself something, learn new skills, and certainly have fun with it. So let's see if we can have a bit more fun here. Let's get back to the comments. You watch every episode? Yeah. So yeah, Peter's on tonight. He's got 2 channels, Peter Gregg, where he does a lot of reviews, and Peter Gregg Live. And I love his intro. Peter, your intro is terrific. It almost sounds like we're getting ready for the Super Bowl pregame. It's really, really well done. And Hero, yay, live stream. Yeah, I know. I'm finally here. The McChronicle, welcome the McChronicle. Peter Gregg is in the house. Yes, it's great to see him here. AI looks good. Well, I'm glad to see that everything's looking good. Now, I do apologize. I keep looking down to the Ecamm stuff where I have all the comments instead of looking up here. And also, for any of you guys that have Canon gear, I want to recommend that you consider using this application. This is Camera Connect. It's free. And I use this for a lot of my videos where I'm going to be shooting more than half an hour. And thankfully, we don't have a record limit here. At least I'm pretty sure we don't, because it's exporting out through HDMI. So that's really good news. One thumb up, only one thumb, because we still have the record limit for the other modes. But what's nice about here, and the reason I have this, is right up at the top, you can see there's a battery indicator. So I have no idea how long it's going to go. It could go 2 hours. This is a new R5. I've got 3 new batteries for it. And the longest I ever shot, I think it was 1 hour and 50 minutes. It might have been 2 hours. And I still had battery left. So I don't plan on going 2 hours. I just plan on going 1 hour tonight. So I'm going to keep that there just in case. All right, let's see. AI and some conversations here between Larry and Peter. You need a Halloween room. Well, I don't know if you've noticed. I've got a bit of a black theme going on. The keyboard's black. Trackpad is black. The FeelWorld is black. The lenses are black. Background is black. Table, not black, but on a grayscale, it's closer to black than white. And, what if I did all black, like a black shirt and everything? It would be pretty cool. See, with my day job, we actually have some what we call office colors, and it's not black, but it's the grayscale. So we wear a lot of black, a lot of grays, and white counts too, because that's part of the grayscale. So I kind of settled on black, but yeah, Halloween theme would be quite interesting too. More conversations. Peter Gregg says, sounds good, looks good, you're off and running. Yes, I still can't get over this. You might notice that this is a little bit different from my regular videos. I don't laugh in my regular videos. I'm a little bit more serious, doing the Walter Cronkite news approach. But here, this is a little bit more of me, and it's not scripted at all. So let's see, what else do we have here? Larry, again, another comment. No buffer here on YouTube or through Chrome. Good. Now on Chrome, do I look a little bit red? This is what I've noticed. When I finish editing on my computer, all my videos, of course I color balance them, I do all that stuff, and it looks pretty good. But then when I preview it in Chrome later, I tend to look a little bit on the red side of the sun. I look like I've been out in the sun too long, so I'm curious how the live goes because I haven't applied any filters or anything on this. Carlitos, James, hi, how are you? Good to see you here. Machronicle on YouTube, Android app, fine at 720p highest resolution. Now I think I'm broadcasting, I should be broadcasting at 1920 by 1080. I don't know why I got confused by that, at 30 frames a second, but I set everything up before I went out earlier today, and then I shut everything down, so there is a chance I could be broadcasting a little slower. Hi, Simon. Hi, Peter Gregg. Yes, welcome to the channel. Good to see you. Nice to see you on the chat. And another message from Brian. What's the wrench icon next to my wrench icon? I don't see a wrench icon. Oh, by the way, because this is the trial version of Ecamm, you're going to see right down at the bottom here a little bit of branding. And here's the reason why I'm using Ecamm. Let's go way back in time, not that far back, about 10 months ago, 9 months ago, I started doing live streaming. I wanted to see if I could do this well. I was just using the camera on the Mac. And after 6 episodes, I decided not to do it, but I was using OBS at the time, or OBS as some people like to call it. I think OBS is a little bit more friendly, isn't it? So I'm going to call it OBS. And it's very powerful, got a lot of features, but I didn't find it as friendly. Now, Ecamm, I only used it once, and it was last night. Thanks to Peter, he was helping me set things up with a few gotchas that I should watch out for. So that's the only session I had, and here I am running with it today, and it seems to be very intuitive, and I like it, but it's not free. And Peter, if you can let us know, what does it cost per month or a year? Because I think you have the full license. So that's, OBS is a free version if you guys want to do this, but I generally prefer Ecamm. Are you shooting on the R5? Yes, so this is the R5, and let me just change some effects here because I want to see what the different effects look like on this. Show you guys this for a minute here. So let's go over to the 70D. This is the Canon 70D, and like I said, I like to use the fade most of the time, but it's got a lot of the basics. Now, it doesn't have many here. It has about 10 or 12 effects, and I don't think that's a problem. Here we go. We'll use this one. And you can just hold it. You can go slow. You can go fast. I've been in video since the 90s. And some of you might be aware of something called the Video Toaster. It was on the Amiga platform. And when the Video Toaster came out, it seemed like it had hundreds of effects. But I'd say I used maybe 3 of them. So you see in my videos, I use butt cuts a lot. You might see a dissolve. And you do certainly see fade to colors, or fade to black is the most often the one I use. And I think they're the most useful. Now, a lot of these effects here, and I'll go back. Let's see. Yep, there's the right one. I'll take a look at some of these. So you got to wipe down. Let's try that one there. So I just use this knob, turn it, and then I press down on it. And will this give me a Star Trek or Star Wars effect? Yeah, not as good as Star Wars. It kind of does. They do the same thing, only you get that dissolve at the same time. I think that's really nice. I'd love to get some of those effects. But yeah, I haven't played around with a whole lot of it. While I'm doing a review for them, a lot of the reviews I do, they're really designed for the ordinary filmmaker, regular folks, mums and dads, brothers and sisters, grandparents. Something that we can hook up and we don't have to fuss with. And Ecamm, by and large, after about half an hour of futzing around, well, actually, after about 5 minutes of futzing around, I was live with Peter Gregg, and we were running through things. And here I am with the what do you call the learning wheels, or training wheels off, and I'm flying pretty good. And it's the same with this thing here. So far, it seems to be pretty easy to use. I did have problems last night. No, I couldn't get my R5 to work. And some of you know I dropped my R5. I know. I know. I feel worse than you do. So when I hooked in the cable, I thought, oh no, did I break something? Well, no. I was in my custom mode, which I use for the studio, which is 4K HQ, and this doesn't do 4K, so it wasn't accepting anything from the camera. So it took me a little while to figure that out, but otherwise, I think it's pretty easy to operate. Let's go back to it. I've only got 2 cameras hooked up. So what you can see here is you've got red there, which that means that's the live one. And the one that's highlighted in sort of like an off green, that means that it's the one that it's going to transition to using the T-bar. So if I'll just pick another one again. Let's find something. Do they have anything funky here? I generally don't like funky. Oh, let's try that. There we go. So now bring it across using the T-bar. There we go. And it does stuff like picture-in-picture as well. So let's get back to some of the comments because I actually enjoy the comments more. See, this is the great thing. When technology works, you really don't have to fiddle with the technology. You can have fun with it. So here we go. Where's my last comment? I've lost track here. I think it's here. We're giddy too. The man is live. Yes. I think I've got a lot to catch up to here. Scott, welcome to my channel. Very good to see you. Don't forget Peter's live show tonight. So good evening, brother. Looking good. Thank you very much. And Peter sent me here. Yeah, well, you know what? Peter, like I said, Peter's been a mentor to me for a long time. You guys may not know this. If you get a chance, go back and look at my first video. When I published it, I thought I was producing the best stuff out there. I thought, wow, I have mastered the use of jump cuts. I produced another one. I thought, okay, the audio needs a bit of work. And then I thought, Peter has a consultation. It's $30. Or was it $50? I can't remember. I think it's $50. I thought, wow, he's been doing this for a long time. He's got millions of subscribers. And I thought, let's go check Peter out. And I called him up, or I booked a session, and he called me up, and we talked for a good long time. And Peter said to me, well, Simon, what is it that you want to do? Well, I said, Peter, this is my vision. And what I want you to tell me what I need to work on to help me get there. And he gave me advice, and a lot of that advice I'm still working on today. One of the biggest challenges that I think you would have if you're starting a channel is looking into that lens like it's your friend. So when I look into this lens, I'm looking into Peter, I'm looking into David, I'm looking into Tony, I'm looking into all of you. Each time I talk, I'm thinking of one of you, which is why I smile a bit more. And not only am I looking into a lens, but I'm looking through a teleprompter, which is angled glass, and I have to remember where the lens is. But improving my presentation skills has been one of the biggest problems. So again, Peter, thank you for all your assistance. I'm going to have to put my glasses on here to read your name. No, that's too far away. I'm sorry, all the letters are too close together, so I do apologize. I don't want to butcher your name. I'm surprised that you didn't make a video about the C70 yet. Oh. Well, I did. Actually, I did. I published it last night, so I did put one out, but yeah, a little closer. Next week, tune into the channel. You might be up for some surprises. No C70 yet, but I have been told that I will be getting a C70 to review. But next week, I think you're going to be in store for some surprises. So I'm really kind of stunned. As soon as I hit 13, let's get the words out, 13,000 subscribers. It's like the switch turned on. I couldn't get gear from anybody. I tried for months and months. And Maur from Israel, if he's on, he'll know. I was trying, but COVID-19 came in and I just couldn't get gear. And now everyone's just trying to send me gear. I reached out to Angel Bird, and they're going to be sending me some cards. I'm going to be getting a 2 terabyte CF Express card to try out, and I'm looking forward to that because the CF Express cards and Ninjas, they're great, but I love the portability of the camera and the size and weight of it. And while the Ninja is great for studio stuff, I don't want to be doing fun and gun stuff with that. So 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte cards are incredible, and their 2 terabyte card is only $100 more than the 1 terabyte card on B&H, which is quite astonishing. I think it's around $900 for a 2 terabyte card. That's impressive. All right, let's get back to comments because I want to see what you guys have to say. So Larry says, it's perfect here. Sound and video quality is great. The only problem is the presenter. Brian says, I'm doing great. Can we expect to see some more live stream content? Yes. But, and I learned this at work. One of my previous CIOs said, Never say no. Always say yes, but do a yes, but, and yes, if. I don't plan on competing with Peter Gregg and doing one every Friday, as much fun as that would be. It takes a lot of setup. I've got to move my gear from my editing office over there and bring it over here. And there's a lot of setup, and there's so many cables here. I'm afraid I'm going to trip over something and break it, and I've got to come up with a better setup. But here's my thoughts. So when Canon comes out with like an R5 Mark II or the R11 or something incredible, or Sony comes out with something, or it's New Year's Eve, and instead of going out, I'll host something at maybe even Peter and I can do a tag team. We'll host a New Year's Eve show starting at like 6 o'clock in the evening, and we can welcome in New Year's across different time zones, talking about camera gear, maybe even getting some guests in to talk about camera related stuff. So I don't know, Peter, if that's something you'd be interested in, but that's something I see as a use. But what I found is doing my Q&A videos that I do every week, that's kind of my answer to the live Q&A. And the reason I started doing that is because, well, my early live streams, they didn't work out very well. So I thought, well, okay, let's just ask for questions. I put it all together, and I don't do a lot of research I don't do any research between questions. I just go one after the other, shoot it for an entire hour. If I need to do research, I do that ahead of time. And so I've got that kind of answers the Q&A. But let's talk online. As there's opportunities for live streams, yeah, I'd certainly like to do them. And look at this, we got 11 thumbs up. Peter, I see where you see the 11 thumbs up now. Do we have any thumbs down? I can't tell. So, but we got a lot of comments. Let's get back to these comments. This is just, I'm loving this. This is great. Let's see. There we go. Da West, sound is great. Picture 2, why not 1080? Well, I thought I was 1080. So again, this is my first real live stream. I thought I set everything up for 1080. Now, Peter, maybe you can tell me where I can check if it's 1080 or not in here. I'm not sure why I'm not in 1080. But yeah, Peter, if you can let me know. Otherwise, I don't want to. Who wants to spend time looking through menu settings, right? All right, thank you, Del West. So yeah, 720. Yeah, it's certainly not putting the R5 through its paces. Joey Greenwood says, "Hey Simon, there's much more sound with there's much more room sound with this audio setup. Cool to see a working live stream setup though. It's because of this thing that I'm using here. It's obviously not a pro microphone, but interesting you say that. One of the companies has reached out to me from Shenzhen. It's a place in China. It's kind of like Silicon Valley, only not only they design stuff there, but they also produce it. So they're sending me out one of these USB proper mics for this. So, and that's another reason I didn't do a lot of live streaming. The amount of money you have to spend to do proper live streaming is almost equitable to how much you spend on studio work. So when I first started, I think by December, I'd spent about 1,700 Canadian or about 1,400 US. And that was, I had to convince my wife that I was going to make money off this before I started spending our mortgage payments on it. So, but I appreciate that information. Brett Morrison, still waiting for my R5 from B&H. Any insight into when? Yeah, so worldwide, what I'm hearing, UK, Canada, US, there's another shipment that's being sent out to retailers around the world. So you should be, well, I won't say you should be getting one right now, but there's going to be more coming into the market, I would say imminently. And I've never seen anything like this, so I'm really surprised that the numbers are that constrained. I would like to know how many they made available for that first shipment. And I do have to give a big thanks. I gave a big thanks to Peter for everything he's done. I want to thank Canon Canada and Downtown Camera for helping me and ensuring that I had a camera for me on the first day. And it wasn't a gift. Canon didn't give me anything. I paid for it myself, but they helped ensure that there was product that I could get it for my channel. And I'm very, very fortunate. So many people weren't able to get the R5, so I'm very grateful for that. It's really helped my channel grow. So very excited about that. Next question from Jay. Is it my eyes? No, I can't need those glasses. I just have my eyes tested. Jay, still waiting for a new battery from Henry's. You might want to try Canon Canada. I just bought 2 batteries from their website. It did take a while to get here, but I've now got 3 of them. So I would just try around different places. But yeah, I'm running with 3 of them now. I usually keep them down here. So yeah, the LP E6NH. Normally, I don't buy the Canon OEM ones because they really are expensive. And do I have the other one here? No, I forgot it. It's in the description down below. You can get 2 of them for $30 Canadian or 2 for, I think it's $21 US. I use them all the time on my 70D, but the reason why I got the Canon ones is you've got more power, they're going to last longer, and because I'm doing a lot of long videos now, like my Q&As, I want as much power as I can get. So yeah, I'm making money off the channel. It's time for me to invest a little bit more in it. But those off-brand ones, I had a lot of really good luck out of them. They're a couple of years old, and they're still giving me a lot of charge. But the Canon batteries, and this is where it's a bit of a testament, I still have my original Canon battery for my 70D, and I can still get a good half an hour out of it. So they really do last, whereas the off-brands don't. Scott Rogers, I like the Mortician's theme. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, you know what? I've been approached by several audio companies. They want me to advertise their audio, their music setup, and I've turned them both, I think it was 2 of them. I turned them both down, more or less saying, at this point, I can't see how I can use it. I'm not using audio. If I can find a way to get audio to enhance my channel rather than taking over, I'll do it. I see a lot of channels that overuse it, and you've got the boom, 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 and it's got like a repetitive sound, and I think it takes away, so I haven't gotten into the music yet. Getting married on Halloween theme. Yes, and with the face paint too. That would look really, really good, Larry. Yes, very red on chrome. So I don't know why that is, because I've had some people say, yeah, you look like a tomato. And I said, thank you. I've been called worse by better people. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the color theme, but everything I do in Final Cut, it's set up properly. It looks good. But, you know, if the saturation down, then on other things it's going to look terrible. And I've had people say, yeah, on my Android it looks great, on my TV it looks different. There's no way of ensuring everybody's got perfect color. I keep looking down here, don't I? Yes, very red, or no, that's a bit too dark. There we go. Come on, click on it. There we go. Bit too dark. Yes, it's more red this stream for sure. Yeah. So what I do, because I haven't been able to apply any presets here, when I'm in Final Cut, I have a whole bunch of presets that I apply that attack, use the color wheels, the saturation. So now whenever I shoot and I bring it into the computer, I don't touch the audio. Where is my Tascam? It's not here. I really love the Tascam. I've been given some really expensive mics to try out, but they record directly into the R5, and the R5 is a great camera, a stills camera and video hybrid, but still the preamp isn't the best. And what I like about the Tascam is I can tell it to record 2 audio streams, one at minus 6 dB, the other one at a different level. It has filters, so it kind of evens things out. So when I bring it into the computer, I really don't have to edit it whatsoever. And the same with the video, so I can get my workflow, get everything published quickly. When is the Canon next Canon cameras? Well, obviously the C70 is coming out, but there's word, Craig at Canon Rumors says that the C50 is coming out. He's not sure when, but it's sometime this year. Other cameras coming out. So here's a quick roundup of some of the cameras we've been talking about. A lot of people have been looking for the EOS R Mark II and the EOS RP Mark II. Now, Craig, when I interviewed him several months ago, he told me that they're one-off cameras. There isn't going to be a replacement. Well, yes and no. Okay, there won't be an EOS R Mark II or an EOS RP Mark II, but Canon's not going to give away that segment. Now, take a look at the EOS R. When it came out, it was what, $22.99? The R6 is what, $24.99? So take into account inflation, and they're pretty much the same price. I see the R6 as the EOS R Mark II. And yes, the EOS R right now is $1,700, but when it came out, it did cost a lot more. But the EOS R, Canon's not going to give up that entry-level mirrorless full-frame camera. There are very few companies that have an entry-level mirrorless full-frame camera for $1,000, and when it goes on sale last Christmas, it was $899 at one point. And that's pretty cheap. But the problems with those two cameras is if you were a video person, you were kind of better off getting the Canon 90D. And I like what Peter Gregg did on looking at the 90D and then jumping to the R5. Because if you're a video person, your next logical step up from the 90D could perceivably be the EOS R5. And I think both of those are great cameras. The R6 is a terrific camera, but on the video side, Casey's Cripple Hammer did beat it down a little bit, but on the photo side, no, it's phenomenal. It's a terrific camera. So outside of that, there's the I think I called it the R5R. That's the high megapixel RF body. Canon Rumors has talked about it many times. I can't see that going away. To me, that's less of a rumor, and it's just an expectation. We got the 5D RS. I always mix it up, SRRS. We already have that. Canon's not going to get rid of that. They're going to bring it out. It's not like they have to do a lot of work. It's going to have the same body. It's going to have much of the same hardware. They're just going to tweak the firmware, tweak the software a little bit, but it's not a lot of work for them to do. And I've been told through Canon Rumors that it's been in testing. All right, let's see. Where am I next? Okay, so next question. Congrats, talking amongst yourself. No problem. I don't mind that at all. Yes, my highest resolution of choice is 720 in Chrome, set to auto. Yeah, so I must be broadcasting in 720. My bad on that. See, Digital Kev, Ecamm is great. I use it on clients all the time. Yeah, it really is. This is a testament to the software that I'm using. Ecamm is terrific. Let's go back over here. Oh, guess what just happened? My 70D, I'm reaching the 70D right now to try to get it back. What's going on with the 70D? There we go. Oh, don't record. There we go. I don't know what was happening. It just went to sleep. But this thing is pretty simple. Let me take you through sorry, let me say that again. Couple of effects. As you can see, changing the effects is pretty simple. But a lot of these here, I don't really... I think they're kind of distracting. To me, when you're doing any sort of video work, to the shutter approach. Whenever you're doing any video work, you don't want the effects to get in the way. You don't want the music to get in the way. You don't want the sound. You want the room noise to get in the way, which is why I generally just like going back to the regular basic fade option and leave it there. And there we go. That's, it doesn't get in the way of the storytelling. And I think that's, to me, a fall back on the basics. I truly am an ordinary filmmaker, and I wear that badge well. I started out in doing video in 2013. I just got married. We were going to have a child, and I didn't want to spend a lot on a camera. But my wife said to me, you're going to need to buy a video camera. Okay, so I replaced my 50D at the time, got the 70D, and just started shooting a lot of video. And each year I tried to get better. I tried to get better with the software, with the skills, but I would say the biggest improvement I've made has been with getting this channel going, because you have to learn, you have to get better at things, or people will stop watching you. Now, let's see, battery-wise on the R5, that can't be accurate. After half an hour, I've still got full bars on the battery. So it's somewhere between 75% and 100%. That's pretty good. All right, next, let's see here. We've got, Lincoln. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, good to see you. I'm glad you joined us. Thanks very much for coming. The Indie Solution. Nice. Glad to see you in Lovestream. Yes, I love being in Lovestream. You're not the only person to say love tonight. Yes, I know what you mean. But look, if you ever read my comments on the channel, which I do an awful lot of, I do have my share of spelling mistakes, and don't worry about it. People... they'll see through the spelling mistakes, and it makes for a bit more fun. Brian, thanks for staying up so late. It's, 7 o'clock here? So it's just, 12:30 in the morning. Really appreciate you staying up for me. Love seeing this, and you happy. Oops, I spoke too soon. I dropped sad face. Yeah, so for those of you who don't watch me on a regular basis, I was shooting some fun and gun stuff this weekend. And there's this little kiddie table in the backyard, so I knelt down. I use the Canon strap just simply because it came with the camera and it helps me protect my camera. But when I got up, it just sort of grabbed right around my knee and pulled it. As I went up, it went down. Oh, you should have heard me, the language I used. It was like, what's that Christmas Story, the movie Christmas Story? It was like that. Oh, thankfully, I had the Rode VideoMic Pro, which is right over there. It fell literally right on top of that, and I could tell because the part of the Rode was scratched. So that was good. I felt good about that before turning it back on again. Then I looked down to the lens, and I was really hoping the lens hit, because that's the least expensive part. And what had happened, you can see right here, hold it up there, get the right light. I'm using two filters on here. There's the Kinko variable ND filter, and right underneath that is a UV0 filter. And the reason I have the UV0 there is I always buy a UV0 whenever I buy a lens. Before I take it out of the shop, it's got one on there. It prevents damage from twigs and other things walking into brick walls from damaging it. So sometimes I do take this ND filter off, the variable one. So I want that UV0 there. And I haven't noticed any bad effects with it. So thankfully, when it fell, it hit this, because you can see it sticks out. Or yeah, like that. You can see it sticks out a little bit. So it came down and hit that. It still turned, but it was there was quite a bit of resistance. So I filmed a couple of videos since then, so we haven't had any problems with the videos. It's really good. Thankfully, it was just, it was $200 repair by replacing that variable ND filter. So, whew, yes. Is your R5 your webcam? Well, it is on this view, and over here, this is my Canon 70D. Oh, it's here. I got to be like Peter Gregg. I got to be smart here. There we go. The lighting isn't the best from this angle. There we go. So you can see that lip there. Oh, I got to be smart. See, Peter does this so well. He's got like 18 cameras or something set up. So that's what protected it there. Yeah, and I can hold up other things like that. See, I wasn't sure if it would have an effect or not, but I removed the CF Express card from the R5 because I think they only generate heat if they're recording. We won't mention the overheating at all. Not going to do it. Not going to bring it up. All right. And the next one from Max. Hi, Simon. What do you think of the C70? I'm still glad I picked up the R5. The funny thing was, if you watch my rumor videos on it, I wasn't that impressed. It was a nice camera. But when I looked at the information that came out and what Canon put out there, I was far more impressed with the camera. It's got pretty well everything you need. Now, it doesn't have 8K downsampled 4K, but I'm willing to assume that it has really good 4K, and I hope to test that out. But in terms of video modes, internal ND filters, because ND filters are terrific. So many years of shooting video without ND filters, and a variable ND filter just changes everything. If you notice my new Q&A videos, the depth of field is so much better. The bokeh is incredible, and that's thanks to the ND filters. So, yeah, I think for musicians, for video makers, filmmakers, events, YouTube operators, I think it's going to be a terrific camera. I do want to get my hands on it to see for sure, but you can sync your audio. The ability to import and export time code, it's quite a powerful camera. I think it's going to do quite well. And $54.99, it's updated. It's got 10-bit 422, whereas the C200 doesn't. Because people have been asking me, well, C200 or C70? And I would definitely say the C70. So it's looking to be a wonderful camera. All right, let's see. Down here, Carlitos. What do you think of the Canon R1 rumors? So here's my belief on this. Canon rumors is the owner and operator is a gentleman by the name of Craig Blair, and I've had him on this channel. When I cover rumors from Canon rumors, it's so much easier to come off seeming like I'm accurate and trustworthy all the time, because Craig puts a lot of effort into what he puts out on his channel. And he has a rating system, CR0, 1, 2, and 3. And if it's a CR1 or below, it's good conversation. I take it with a glass of salt water. Speaking of water, oh, that's better. I take it with a grain of salt. I don't believe it to be real. It's nice to talk about, but when he has it as a CR3, that tells you that he has it from known sources. It's been validated, and he believes it to be credible. And one of the things I asked him in the interview, I said, "Look, do you get actually stuff coming right from Canon?" And he said, "Yes." Especially sometimes when they don't properly cover their trail, he can see the source information coming from Canon, because these big companies, a lot of these leaks actually do come from these companies, and they can control that. Look at Sony. How much have they leaked? Very little, because they take a different approach. And it frustrates the living daylights out of us because we don't know what they're working on. So I think it makes sense. Being so close to the 1DX Mark III release, which was earlier this year, I don't see them making it 10 times better. I don't see it to be the 1DX Mark IV, for example. I see it being as a mirrorless version of the 1DX, but getting some benefits because it's mirrorless. Good question. And Larry again. Ecamm looks like a great tool. Price again? Yeah, I was waiting for Peter to give the price, but I think if you buy it for a year, it's something like $200 or $300. I don't know for sure. It's definitely not cheap. If you're making money, like you've got a channel, then it's it's a business expense. But if you don't have the money, then OBS is a good alternative. The Indie Solution. Been with you since around 500 subs. As a small YouTuber, you give me so much motivation. Well, Indy, tell me a bit about what it is you do and why that motivates you. But thanks a lot, because at 500, it was pretty sketchy back then. I don't even know if I had my Tascam at that point. I probably did. That was probably around December, between December and probably the first week of January. I got monetized in 2.5 months, and normally it should take about 6 months. But I was very fortunate. Not only did I have good mentors, but I was in my season. I knew 2020 was going to be a big year. I predicted we're going to get the GH6. We're going to get some amazing cameras from Canon to replace the 1DX Mark II and the 5D. I knew that Sony was going to come out with the A7S III, although I was told it's not going to happen. And I just knew we were going to get these cameras, and most of them have panned out to date. And that's just because it's the Olympic year, and if you understand the Japanese company... Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I can't believe I was still over there. See, that's what happens when you have an amateur running the show. But with Japan, they try to get their best wares out for the Olympics, because Canon wants to see all the photography. They want to see Canon lenses everywhere. So that was a big. It really helped me, because when I released my video on the 1DX Mark III, I got out there about 4 or 5 hours before anybody else. And I had over 40,000 views in that one video. I've never received anything like that since. The highest, I think, is 30,000. And that video got me monetized. So the key thing is, yeah, you got to know your season as well, and know when the news is coming out and be there for it. So great question. Sorry about that, guys. I can't believe I was still on that screen. Let me just jump down. Oh my God, I got so many comments. All right, so let's go back up here. I'll try to get through all of you guys. There you go. I've gone down too far. I've got so many comments here. It's unbelievable. There we go. Hello from Greece. Does it support different cameras and frame rates? Well, it certainly supports different cameras. So right now, this is the R5, and this here is the Canon 70D. If I get more cameras next week, that's not a hint at all, is it? Then I'll hook those up as well. So it does support different cameras. From what I can see here, if I go to the menu, let's go back here. If I go to the menu, right in here under input, you can see, look at this. Do you guys see that? Both cameras are feeding at 1920 by 1080 at 60 frames a second, although one of them is doing it at 60 frames per second interlaced. That's really interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. So it must be something I have set in Ecamm, or how it's broadcasting to YouTube, because I am outputting, at least from the cameras. So yeah, it does support multiple cameras, and I believe it does support multiple frame rates as well. But I'll do my full review later. This is not a review. This is kind of me getting my feet wet of what it's like to use this. So when I do talk in the review, I can actually say, look, I've used it. I did a live stream to the community on my second video, and I didn't find it too difficult to use and pretty simple. Go back and forth like that. You know, it's quite smooth. I'm quite happy with it so far. Mark Anthony Ramirez asks, or sorry, it's like I'm doing my Q&A videos. Awesome, Simon. Always good stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. And Brian, good to see you again. I've answered a couple of your questions tomorrow. I feel like if Popcorn joins the stream, the chat is going to go crazy. Yes, Popcorn, I think he has too much caffeine. Sometimes I'll get like 12 questions or comments in a row. So yeah, you're right there. Hello, Connie. Hi from Sweden. Really enjoy your channel. Well, Connie, that means an awful lot to me. I do appreciate that. For whatever reason, I'm able to provide you with content that keeps you coming back. So thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Oh, here we go. We got a comment from Peter. On the main view window, go near the gear icon in the bottom right side. Yes. Okay. On the bottom right side, look in the stream tab. So I'm looking in the stream tab. Oh, yep, you're right, Peter. So that's one thing I probably should have changed last night. Didn't think of it. So I am streaming out at 720p. So at least now I know how to change it. So thanks a lot for that, Peter. So yeah, amateur mistake. But that's fine. That's how we learn, right? Hey, Frosty, thank you for joining us. It's good to see you here. Appreciate you stopping by. Guys, I'll tell you what, the first person to guess what that is in his avatar, if you can guess what that is, I'll give you an extra entry into my Canon's EOS R contest. So by the way, for those of you that aren't familiar with my channel, I'm going to be giving away a brand new Canon EOS R5 full frame mirrorless camera when I reach 100,000 subscribers, which I think will take 5 to 8 months. But every 10,000 subscribers, what I'm doing is I'm giving away some other products. So 20,000, I'm giving away a lav microphone and a shotgun mic. Now let's check the battery here. So now I'm down to 3 bars on the R5. That's with 47 minutes. So that battery lasts quite a while. What's up, Simon? You know what? Just trying live stream for the first time. Trying to get used to that. Connie says, I got my R5. I'm a photographer, but I still enjoy your channel a lot. Keep up the good work. Well, Connie, I'm trying to do a bit more photography. I bought the 50mm f1.2. I wouldn't have spent that much money on a lens, but this is going back years ago. We just had a baby, and I didn't have an income stream from a channel to justify it. So I thought it was $2,100 at the time, 2,100 Canadian or 2,100 US. The dollar was on par at the time. And my wife said, oh, you know, it's cheaper. We buy this lens and we don't have to take a lot of photos from. I thought, okay. But it didn't produce that great results. But I was on an APS-C, so it was more like an 85mm. But take that EF 1.2, which I'm filming with right now, put it on the R5 and take portraits. It's amazing, Connie. I actually look like a photographer with the results I get. I mean, it shocks me at how good the camera produces results. But I've got a long way to go. I need to learn some more. So I do try to do a bit more photography. It's important. The Village Mirror. Tim, good to see you, buddy. How are you? Yes, I am live. Unfortunately, broadcasting at 720p, though. So the R5 at its full glory. Looks okay in Edge. Good. I'm glad to hear that. And John, how do you handle the file size from the R5? Very easily. So I answer this tomorrow or Sunday in my Q&A. I have an iMac Pro. So it's a pretty fast machine. It's the base model. It's got 32 gigs. It's got an 8-core Xeon processor, and it's got a pretty good graphics card. In 1080, it's smooth. But in my 2015 MacBook Pro, it's very smooth too. 1080 is no problem. If I'm just using regular 4K, like 4K 30, and I'm not doing 10-bit, most of the times it'll play without skipping frames. But you see, my videos are very simple. A lot of times what I do is when I do these videos, I take everything out of the camera, bring it into the R5. I use CF Express cards. I swear by them now. I didn't see the point to them before, but when you shoot an hour, you get something like this that has a high read speed. You can get it off the card in about 7 minutes instead of waiting 40 minutes on SD cards. But as far as the file sizes and editing them, they're talking head pieces, so I'm really listening to what I say. Once I color grade them and apply the presets, I don't really care what I look. I just work on the transitions, and for that I zoom in, I make sure everything's just right, and then I zoom out. And if it skips a few frames, I don't care because I'm listening to the audio, and I edit based on the audio. It's just how my videos are. For my fun and gun stuff, where I shoot my son and other people, it's 4K HQ, but before I bring it into the computer, before I bring it into Final Cut, I take it in a compressor and I convert it to Apple ProRes 422, and that makes a huge difference if you convert it to ProRes 422, and that's where the Ninja comes in. Not because of the overheating from things like this in the R5, but because on an SSD, it gives you all your files in Apple ProRes 422 or ProRes RAW. I prefer 422, and you can edit right off the SSD, and that is powerful. But 4K does require a bit more processing power. What you need to have is a computer. If you're into Macs, then you don't need an iMac Pro. Peter Gregg, look at what he's filming with. He's got a higher end regular iMac with a good graphics card, the 2019 MacBook Pro. And if you're on Windows or Linux, then you want a really good GPU. And if you're using Adobe Premiere, then you're also going to want a lot of cores as well because it uses the CPU quite a bit. Yeah, so there we go. John says Matty bought the R5, aka 8K camera, and then films in 1080 and exports in 4K. Well, that'll save you some time, but when you export in 4K, it's going to take almost as much time as exporting as if you shot in 4K. So, yeah, you know what? If you start with a really good master file, you're going to produce better results. If you're uploading to YouTube, then yeah, look, the Village Mirror, we were shooting something last week, and I want to show him how things looked on the computer because the quality and the clarity is so much better than what you are watching on YouTube, even when I do 4K. YouTube compresses the living daylights out of things. So for YouTube, I can see that, but if you're not doing it for YouTube and if you want to use it for your run and gun and fun stuff, 4K HQ is amazing. I just like shooting in 4K HQ. I like the results. And I've got a fast enough computer that I don't really worry about it too much. All right, let's see how we are on time. We're going up to an hour. Okay. The EOS R5 / Canon 70D combo. Yeah, my two cameras. My wife says I should sell this camera here. Here it is. There we go. Sell this camera, the 70D. But you know, it's still a good camera. Why get rid of it? You know, maybe get $200 or $300 for it. But you know, I'd rather hand it down to my son. At this age, you just don't get the value out of it monetarily wise, but to hand it down to my son or just have it as a backup. What if I drop the R5? I know. I should go in the doghouse for that. That's a very nice compliment. Nick is complimenting Peter. I'm trying to click on it. The link is so small here. Let's try this again. Mark says, are Canon and other companies truly innovating with low light performance when some technology demos show orders of magnitude in low light performance? Let me preface this by saying that every camera is a compromise. And I'm going to use race cars as analogies. You look at a Formula One car, nothing can beat it around corners. It is high performance, but if you try to drive that on the street, it would be ridiculous. Let's look at a Mercedes, an E350, $80,000 car. It's got some good performance. It's good for overtaking, doing all that stuff. It's built well. It's got a lot of good safety. And I could take it to the track, but it's heavy. It's lumbering. It wouldn't be very efficient. Or I could get something like a Corvette. Now, it doesn't have the same performance of a Formula One car, but I can drive that on the road quite comfortably. Or I can take it on the track and tear it up. But it's not going to approach a Formula One car, and it's not going to give me the comfort of the Mercedes. And it's the same with cameras. If you're going to go with an R5 or an A7S III, a Panasonic S1, each of these is a compromise. Each company has a different vision. Now, if you really want low light performance, and you're looking at, let's say, a video hybrid or stills hybrid camera, right now, it looks like the Sony A7S III is probably one of the leading cameras in this space. But if you're doing YouTube work or other stuff work and you really do need that dynamic range and you don't want to shoot in C-Log, because the R5, when you shoot in C-Log, is pretty good. But I'm talking like 16 plus stops of dynamic range. then a C300 Mark III. It's very easy to spend your money in this. And if you're looking for a camera to say, well, all these cameras suck, get this one because it has the best dynamic range, you can't bake a cake with one ingredient. And what you have to do is you have to look at all the different capabilities that you're looking for in a camera, line them up and say, okay, well, you know what? This camera scores best of the requirements that I'm looking for. And these are the mandatory ones, and it does well, because no matter what you choose, it is going to be a compromise to some degree. Brian says, I'm really enjoying the R6. I don't like the overheat timer. The overheat timer of doom, yeah. That just slowly counts down every time I turn the camera on. Brian, so I've found a solution to the R5 overheating. I can record continuously without overheating, and either the battery or the card will run out. I was shooting 4K 30 on this a couple of weeks ago, did a video on it. The card filled up. I didn't overheat, didn't have an overheat warning. All you have to do is move to Canada, Russia, or some other cold country, and you can shoot in 9-10 months of the year without overheating at all. And here's what I found out with firmware 1.1.0. If you're in temperatures below 66 degrees and you've got a light breeze, you won't get the overheat warning. Or below 64 degrees and no breeze at all, they'll just keep going. So for me personally, in July and June, yes, I did have problems with overheat. I basically got half an hour. And you really got to watch my video on Sunday, because I started recording at 4K 30. It was 77, 78 degrees. And I used, again, Camera Connect. So I watched down here, 25 minutes. So I pressed stop and I pressed record again. And it said, I'm sorry, Simon, I'm feeling a little bit hot right now. Do you mind if I take a break? I said, well, yeah, definitely not. I turned off 4K HQ and kept recording in 4K 30, both in C-Log though. And watching that video, if you see much of a difference, with the background blown out, you're not going to see a huge difference there, so it'll be mostly on me. But yeah, overheat. And I can deal with that more. It's the record limits that drive me up the wall more than anything else. I'm really enjoying the R6. I just don't like the... Oh, I already did that one. Let's just move this up a little bit. For shooting professional films, Fuji X-T4, or is it better to use the R5? Well, let's see, the X-T4, that's an APS-C camera, isn't it? I can't remember now. I'm pretty sure it's an APS-C camera. So the R5 gives you basically C300 type quality without the dynamic range. How long are your films? That's one thing. How long are your films? What climate are you in? What's the environmental setting? So are you shooting indoors? Are you shooting outside? I'm almost hesitant to say either of those two cameras, because depending on what you tell me, I might even say go with a cinema camera for that type of stuff, especially ones with CF Express cards, or put a Ninja on it, because you want to move that stuff off the cards pretty quickly. Amir, are you a photographer or videographer? And if you're a photographer, what's your niche? No, I'm mostly a videographer. I'd say take away this channel and I would shoot video 96.99%. But there are times where you have to take photos. It improves really good results. Now, I have started taking stills from my 4K HQ. Another reason to shoot 4K HQ. And it's just mind-boggling how good it is. It's just stunning. It really is very, very good, the stills. Good enough for social media, good enough for sending emails. You don't want to be emailing your grandmother, a 45 megapixel file. It's just going to crash your computer. I only just got my mother, who's 84, used to using an iPad. I don't want to send her 45 megapixel files. So, but what is my niche? Well, here's what it's kind of funny. I love doing portraits. And I love doing astrophotography. I'm really kind of addicted to that. And I'd like to thank Ian Robinson for helping me do that. And there's a lady in Ohio, Sky something. She also does a lot of astro as well. Okay, what time is it here? I've gone past my hour. I can see why Peter goes so long on these things. We got 22 likes. I will end it probably in about half an hour. I think that's as long as I can go, because I told my wife I'd be an hour. She left with our son. So what'll happen is they'll have a shower soon in the water. Because I'm in the basement, you'll hear it coming down, so I will have to stop it soon. I love the way Pure Greg always has the camera details showing in the corner frame as he compares. I think many content creators would benefit from it. Yeah, I know, I agree. And I would do that too here, but there's so much to learn, and that's one thing I didn't figure out. But one thing I've started doing in my other regular standalone videos is right at the beginning, I'll say this was filmed on the R5 or the A7S III. So I am starting to do that. Hey, 26 likes. Thanks, guys. This 720 looks pretty good. Well, we're using a $4,000 camera with a $2,000 lens on it. So it should look pretty good. And when you think about it, that is one of the reasons why when you look at a C70, it only has 4K and go, well, the R5 has 8K. But it's going to produce much better 4K than what probably the R5 would do in 4K 30. How do I say it? Gil? You'll have to let me know how I say your name because I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you're from to try and get the pronunciation right. But things are going well. Thank you very much for asking. Lincoln says, good to see you too, Simon. First time seeing you streaming. Yes, I experimented it when nobody knew me. And that was enough to tell me not to live stream until I had some more gear. It's okay to see grammar mistakes. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. For work, no, I make sure everything is spelled properly in grammar. But no matter how hard I try, I always have mistakes in my videos, and that's the problem with a one-man show. You can never, you can't edit your own stuff. You're gonna miss mistakes. Arnon says, both, but also entered professional video, also for short films, event music. You know what? You might want to think of the C70. If you're doing films and music and events, the way you can synchronize music and your multi-camera sync, I think that's going to make you happier. And with the ND filters built in, keep in mind for every lens that I buy, I'm looking at $200 or ish, or $100 US for a variable ND filter, or I can put one on the base here. Those are built in. So when you look at the cost of a C70 C70, automatically take a couple of $100 off just because you don't have to buy ND filters. That's a good point. I'm talking to myself now. Jeduk says some people had problems with the R6 autofocus in video. Yeah, I've had people say the same about the R5. Now, as you can tell, I wear glasses for when I'm reading, and most of the times when I edit now, I do have them on. I think it nails it, the eye autofocus, most of the time, because when I don't check it all the time because I'm focusing on the audio and I want to get the video out pretty quickly. But every now and then I stop, I freeze frame it, and I look, and it looks like the eyes are sharp on. So from what I produced on the R5, not the R6, but they use the same software, they use the same subroutines, it seems to work very, very well. But others do seem to have trouble. We go. Get the soap. Soap, yes, soap. I like soap. Oh, fudge. Christmas Story. Yeah, I got that reference. Thanks. Larry says, Xmas Story. Yes, yeah. I love that movie. Village Mirror. You need a bubble wrap case for the camera. Yeah, or I need to get this channel big enough where I can hire somebody so I just don't handle expensive gear anymore. Will there come other firmware? Oh, yeah, definitely. This is not the Canon, like when I bought the 70D. Let's see if the 70D is still alive. No, wait. Hold on, let me bring it back. There we go. I don't know what's going on there. Probably a setting I didn't do. Yeah, definitely. I expect one for the R5 within the next couple of weeks, before or after Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. And I think what they're trying to do now, because there's a lot of commonality between the code for both cameras, so if they're going to update one, I'd expect they'd update the other one shortly thereafter. And yes, I hope they do remove record limits. Yes, I do hope they bring back All-I. Canon says they listen to us, so get out there, call them, send feedback. Don't just complain to me because I'm just one voice. You got to complain to them. It makes a huge difference. Paul, I only just joined the stream. Have you already chatted about specs and rumors of upcoming Sony a7 IV? I haven't talked about the upcoming a7 IV. And I don't remember the specs off my hand right now because I get so many specs, and if I'm not careful, I have to be very careful with my videos because they start to bleed together when you have so many cameras. But the A7 IV is going to be a very good camera. The A7S III is a video-centric camera. It can do photos, but a lot of people are going to have trouble working with 12 megapixels. And I've said this to people in the past, if you're looking at doing this professionally, get an A7S III and then maybe get an A7S IV, or sorry, an A7 IV, and that becomes your photography camera, and the other one's your video. Or, in my case, I'm going to have the R5, and I'm going to have the A7S III, and I'm going to play around and see. Because the R5 does really great on photos. I'm sure the A7 IV will do great on photos as well. But you see, I'm not a Sony user. I've got a lot of Canon glass, so I don't. And this is what's happening. Some people are leaving Canon and going to Sony, and some people are selling their gear. Well, why sell your gear? Keep your gear, keep your bodies, buy the Sony, and now you've got the best of both platforms, because the A7S III does really good with video, and the Canon, the R5, does both. But yeah, I asked me that question for my Q&A video, and I can be better prepared. Let's see. Del West says, I would change the camera. Yeah, when I stuck on the 70D, yeah. Sorry it took so long to do that. But it's nice flashing green screen. Green button. For those of you that are staying up late from Europe, that you're drinking coffee, I can imagine you're just doing this, looking at the green button. Yeah, sorry. It's like those videos. You see people put out those videos where all it is they just film traffic lights, and they're zoomed right into traffic lights. I don't know. Maybe it helps people sleep. True. And let's see. The funny thing is that Simon is talking to a camera that no one's seeing. Yeah. Yeah. The 1DX Mark III is a great camera. Yeah, it definitely is. The one advantage of the R1 over the 1DX Mark III, though, sensor cleaning. You won't have to do that anymore because the lube off the sensor won't come off anymore, which is really great about mirrorless. So that is one advantage. Lincoln says, Simon makes OBS look amateur as he streamed for the first time. Yes, I'm not using OBS. I'm using Ecamm. See the logo right there? But yeah, thanks. With his Stream Deck, yeah, that was pretty funny. With my R6, I'm going to prove you wrong that it isn't good for video. That it isn't good for video. Let's wear the red button. Yeah. Oh, the red button. I can't believe I did that. What's your opinion of the Blackmagic 6K? I like Blackmagic. I think they're pretty good. But there's always been something that sort of held me back from going to them. And one of the biggest things that's held me back is just the amount of glass I have for Canon. I did think of getting one, but I think with the channel now, I'm looking at things such as the C70, the C300, the Red Komodo Dragon. I know Frosty, he loves a lot of those cameras too. And that might be something to try. But you know what? Maybe I'll bring in a Blackmagic and try one of those out as well. Oh, thank you very much, FOMO. I appreciate that. Yeah, I should check down if you get a super chat. It just doesn't like warn you, and it should, because I think when somebody gives a super chat, you need to call it out, and if they have a question, get right to it. So thanks a lot, FOMO. Yes, I am live. Let me just see if there are any. Okay, there's no more. It's 3 so. Oh God, some of you guys are. It's so late in the morning. All right, so let's see. But thank you very much, FOMO. Which wireless lab mic do you think is the best for under $500? Oh, a wireless. You know, I'm still reviewing a few right now. Here's the thing. If it records directly into the camera, I'm not a big fan of any of them. Because you're getting that hiss that you have, the preamp in your camera, depending on the camera, some of them are pretty bad. I wish I had my Tascam right here. It's somewhere, but the wired, see, if you can record into a base unit, and some of the wireless mics do that, where you can set some things and you leave them there so that way you don't have to edit in post, I think is great. But right now, and I've got some mics from Kamika that I'm getting ready to review, that I'm trying out, and I still fall back to the Tascam. I think the Tascam DR10L for $200 is a great bargain. The audio that it produces is very good. It's much better than this thing here. Yeah, right now I can't with authority tell you what's the best wireless mic at this point because the ones that I'm working with record into the camera. And so if you're going to buy a wireless mic, don't get one of those unless you have a very, very good preamp and that you also have controls on the camera, because I don't have any controls on the camera, so I have to do all the work in post, which is a little bit annoying. So I answered that one. Next one. Is it chicken breaded with frosted flakes? No, it is not chicken breaded. You are wrong there. Larry says the Avatar. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to, the Avatar. And Frosty says no. Blink 500 is wonderful wireless microphone. All right, thank you, Amir. I appreciate you asking that. My wife is asking if I'm done. Hold on a minute here. See if I can quickly respond. Oh, look at all you guys. You're sending me comments here too. I'm going to have to end it pretty soon. I'll just say 10 more minutes. Guys, I'll go at about 10 more minutes. I can't even see her on here. Why is she not on here? There she is. What's this? Messaging live. No, it won't work. Okay, so I can't do it. So guys, I got 10 minutes. I'm going to try to wrap things up here. Now I'll have to change it. No, don't change it. Hey, buddy, just logged in. I'm in Lake George on vacation, giving my R6 a video photo workout. You know what, John? What I would love you to do, take some photos and videos and put it in a YouTube link and send it to me. And what I'll do is, if you'd like, I can append it to one of my videos and show what people are doing with their R6s. I love to incorporate viewer videos. Larry says, sorry, Frosty, I've got terrible eyesight. Yeah, mine's not much better. Brian Mackey, great live stream. Time for bed. Yep, thank you for staying up, Brian. I really do appreciate you dropping by. More comments here. So guys, I'm just trying to rush through these to get to some more questions. C-Log 3 for the R6, please, Canada. Yes, I'm looking